For thousands of years, empires have risen and fallen, leaving behind little more than dust and whispers. But what if one man, driven by a vision of absolute unity and a fear of his own mortality, decided to build an empire that would last forever? What if he didn't just want to rule the world, but to conquer death itself? This is the story of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor, a man who did not just rule, he reshaped existence itself. Our story begins not with an emperor, but with a young king named Yingzheng, ruler of the state of Qin. It was the twilight of the Warring States period, a brutal, centuries-long conflict that had torn ancient China apart. 7 kingdoms vied for supremacy, their armies clashing in bloody battles that stained the rivers red. Amid this chaos, Yingzheng harbored an ambition of staggering proportions: to end the endless wars, to crush all rivals, and to forge the disparate states into a single, unified empire under his absolute control. One by one, the rival states fell before the might of the Qin army: Han, Zhao, Wei, Chu, Yan, and finally, Qi. With each conquest, Yingzheng's power grew, his methods becoming more ruthless, his resolve harder than forged steel. By 221 BCE, the wars were over. The land, once fractured, was now whole. Standing atop the pinnacle of his victory, Yingzheng proclaimed himself Qin Shi Huang, the first sovereign emperor. The title of king was no longer grand enough for the man who had unified all under heaven. A new era had begun. Now the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, faced a monumental task: how to govern this vast, newly born empire. He didn't just want to rule it, he wanted to remake it in his own image. His first decree was a stroke of genius and tyranny. He abolished the old feudal system, where lords ruled their own lands. Instead, he divided the empire into 36 commanderies, each governed by officials he appointed directly. Loyalty was now to the emperor, and the emperor alone. Then came the reforms that would touch the life of every single person. Imagine living in a country where every town had its own money, its own way of writing, even its own measurement for a bag of rice. It was chaos. Qin Shi Huang swept it all away. He standardized the currency, minting circular bronze coins with a square hole in the middle, a design that would last for 2 millennia. He decreed a single, unified script, ensuring that an order written in the capital could be read in the farthest corner of the empire. Roads were built, over 4,000 miles of them, precursors to the superhighways of today, all with standardized axle widths for carts, ensuring smooth transport and trade across the land. It was a nation reborn under one rule, one law, one vision. Yet the greater his power, the deeper his paranoia grew. The man who had conquered kingdoms now feared whispers in the dark and daggers in the shadows. Assassination attempts had haunted him throughout his rise, and now as emperor, the threats felt omnipresent. He became obsessed with control, not just over his people, but over their thoughts. He ordered the infamous burning of books, seeking to erase the histories and philosophies of the past, to ensure that history itself began with him. Any scholars who dared to dissent were dealt with brutally. His quest for order was descending into a reign of fear. To guard his empire from within and without, he would build walls that reached the sky. The nomadic Xiongnu tribes to the north were a constant threat, raiding border settlements at will. Qin Shi Huang ordered the connection and reinforcement of existing walls into a single, massive defensive line. This was the genesis of what we now know as the Great Wall of China. Hundreds of thousands of laborers, soldiers, peasants, and convicts were conscripted for this colossal project. Under grueling conditions, they toiled in treacherous mountains and harsh deserts. It was a barrier of earth and stone, but also a monument built on human suffering, a symbol of the emperor's power to command both nature and man. But even a wall that touched the heavens could not protect the emperor from his ultimate enemy: death. As he aged, his quest for power turned into a desperate search for immortality. He dispatched expeditions in search of the mythical elixir of life, sending fleets to the legendary islands of the immortals. Alchemists and sorcerers filled his court, promising potions that would grant him eternal life. Ironically, many of these elixirs contained mercury, a poison that likely hastened his decline, clouding his mind and fueling his paranoia. He knew that even if he couldn't live forever, his rule could. And so he began his most ambitious project of all, a tomb fit for an eternal ruler. While the Great Wall was built to protect his empire in life, this underground palace was designed to protect him in the afterlife. For decades, an army of over 700,000 artisans and laborers worked in secret, constructing a subterranean necropolis, a sprawling model of his entire empire. It had palaces and pavilions, rivers of mercury mimicking the Yangtze and Yellow rivers, and a ceiling studded with pearls to represent the starry sky. And to guard him in this silent kingdom, he commanded the creation of an army unlike any other. Not of flesh and blood, but of terracotta. Thousands of life-sized soldiers, each with a unique face, clad in armor and holding real weapons. There were archers, cavalrymen, and infantry, all standing in battle formation, ready to defend their emperor for all eternity. This was the Terracotta Army, a silent testament to one man's monumental ego and his profound fear of the unknown. In 210 BCE, during a tour of his eastern territories, the inevitable finally claimed the emperor. Qin Shi Huang, the man who unified a nation and sought to conquer death, died. His death was kept secret by his closest advisors to prevent an uprising. His body transported back to the capital in a convoy disguised to mask the smell of decay. He was finally laid to rest in his magnificent silent tomb, surrounded by his clay army. His dynasty, which he believed would last for 10,000 generations, crumbled just 3 years after his death, collapsing under the weight of his own tyranny. Yet, the legacy of the first emperor endured. The name of his dynasty, Qin, pronounced Qin, gave us the name China. The unified script he created is the foundation of written Chinese today. The concept of a single centralized state that he forged became the blueprint for every dynasty that followed. So was Qin Shi Huang a visionary leader who ended centuries of war, or a brutal tyrant who ruled through fear and suppression? The truth, as it often is, lies somewhere in between. He was the architect of a nation, but also the jailer of its spirit. His quest for eternity was a failure, but in building his empire and his tomb, he achieved a different kind of immortality. He created a legacy etched not just in stone and earth, but in the very identity of one of the world's oldest civilizations. He did not rule forever, but he did, in a very real way, reshape existence itself. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this story fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the lives of history's most epic figures. Let us know in the comments what you think about the first emperor's legacy. We'll see you in the next one.